It's been a while since we've had any real news on the future of Sasha Banks. That is no longer the case. PW Insider reported exclusively on Thursday, and Dave Meltzer has since confirmed the news, that Mercedes Varnado, or Varnado, aka Sasha Banks, is scheduled to be at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 17 event next month. And the report says, while it is unknown whether she will be appearing before the live crowd, we are told that New Japan is bringing her in for the event. Meltzer says the deal is to bring her in, not through WWE. It is not happening through WWE. And New Japan believes that she will be free and clear to appear at the show by January 4th. The idea of Sasha working even just a few shows in Japan is hardly a surprise. When New Japan and Stardom first announced the creation of an IWGP Women's Championship, on Sound Off episode 767, I said the first name that came to mind when I heard about the new title was Sasha Banks. I said that in July. In October, she teased the idea of wrestling Kairi in Stardom, and Kairi shared that on Twitter. That got people talking. Kairi is defending the IWGP title at Wrestle Kingdom against Tam Nakano. So Sasha would not be wrestling on that show, but if they're flying her in for it, there ain't no way she doesn't appear on camera. She's not flying over there, I think, to be a ticket-holding fan in the crowd, or just to have a seat in the backstage area, right? If she's being flown in, if New Japan is bringing her in, they are not bringing her in to not put her on camera in some way, shape, or form. My guess is that she's going to show up after Kairi retains her title for a face-off to tease the match. Or, I guess they could put a video up, but it would be more impactful, I think, for her to be there and to come out and have a face-to-face teasing a championship match. There is a second night of Wrestle Kingdom later in the month on January 21st at the Yokohama Arena. That's the same building they sold out earlier this year for their third night of Wrestle Kingdom when they did the New Japan vs. Pro Wrestling Noah card. This year, they're only doing 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom, and there's a gap of a few weeks between the shows. But that would be a great place for that match to happen. Sting and Darby Allin are going to be wrestling in that same building 24 hours after that, tagging with the Great Muta in Muta's retirement match. Meltzer did say in The Observer that there is a plan for the IWGP Women's title to be defended in the United States on February 18th in San Jose. And when the title was first conceived, the idea was for it to be defended mostly in Stardom matches on New Japan cards in the US. Stardom and New Japan, they're owned by the same parent company. So whether it's the 21st in Japan or whether it's the following month in California, that would be huge for them if they could get Sasha Banks to wrestle, even if just for one match. What that means for her future in WWE is unknown. They still have her listed on their roster page. If you go to WWE.com in the Superstars section, I believe it's the SmackDown roster. Actually, no, it would be the Raw roster. But if you go to the Superstars page, she's still listed there. They never took her off. When people tried to book her earlier this year after she walked out with Naomi, promoters were told she's not taking any wrestling bookings until after January 1st. Well, here we are, and she'll be at Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th. That tells me that she'll be a free agent as of the first of the year. Remember, in June, after they walked out, there were stories of her lawyers working to get her out of her deal. Right? We heard about the lawyers and the conversations with WWE, but we never heard exactly where those conversations went. I don't think her lawyer just decided one day to pack up and go home. So we don't know what the outcome of those conversations was. If they did get her out of her deal, there may have been a non-compete that runs out at the end of the year, which would make these stories make sense. Because it would be weird if she was still under her original deal and under contract to WWE, while New Japan is flying her in for the show. New Japan is not going to tamper with a WWE contract and run the risk of getting into legal trouble. So if they're flying her in for the show, and there's communication between her and New Japan, then they must know that it is legally safe for them to be doing so. Now, a few weeks ago, she posted that she just wrapped filming on her first movie in Boston. She was really excited about that. I could absolutely see her wanting to have the freedom to do her own thing. She's been training in the ring in different places, both in the US and in Mexico. She posted pictures on social media of her, in the ring with students, just trying to stay in ring shape and train and prepare for an eventual in-ring return. Interestingly, none of those places that she's been seen training at is the WWE Performance Center. Another sign of what I think is her preparing for life after WWE were the trademarks that she recently filed for, both for her given name and for her other names. Mercedes Monet, Monet Talks, Bank Monet, and Statement Maker. She trademarked all of these names. That doesn't sound to me like someone who's planning a WWE return anytime soon. It sounds like someone who's been preparing for life after WWE and has just been waiting out whatever time she has left on her deal or her non-compete so she can start taking bookings. That's what it sounds like to me. She knows that she can go back to WWE anytime that she wants, and Triple H is going to welcome her back with open arms. You think if she comes knocking on their door, they're going to bar the building and not let her back inside? Are you kidding me? They would love to have Sasha back. I'm sure Triple H has been working to try to get her back. So she knows that WWE will always be there. But why not travel around and work other places? Make 2023 the year of Mercedes. I've heard nothing about Naomi, other than Naomi was seen sitting with Jade Cargill at the Atlanta Hawks game earlier in the week. Sasha and Naomi, they can do their own thing where one goes, the other one doesn't have to go. But all of this has led to speculation about Sasha Banks going to AEW. Because AEW has a working agreement with New Japan. So she could sign with AEW and still do stuff there if she wanted to. We have a Wrestle Kingdom show coming up. Think about this. We have a Wrestle Kingdom show coming up with the return of Kenny Omega wrestling Will Ospreay. FTR is expected to be defending their IWGP tag belts on that show. There's talk of Carl Anderson possibly working the Tokyo Dome to defend his never open weight title if he doesn't drop it to Hikuleo this Wednesday, because he's working the New Japan Tag League finals this week. I think both good brothers are going over there to Japan. And we're going to have the first IWGP women's title defense ever at the Tokyo Dome, Kairi defending against Tam Nakano. So there is a nice mix of different things on that show. Wrestle Kingdom was already going to have all the buzz that week, but now that buzz is going to be even louder. And they don't even have to announce Sasha for the show, even as a guest, because now the word is leaked. Everybody already knows. Everybody's talking about it. They don't have to say a word. But there is speculation about who will be Saraya's tag team partner for her match with Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter when Dynamite returns to the Kia Forum in Los Angeles on January 11th. That's going to be a very big episode of Dynamite. AEW just made their debut there in June. That was the first Dynamite after Double or Nothing, the night that CM Punk broke his foot and fucked up all Tony Khan's creative plans for the summer. On Dynamite this week, Britt Baker presented Saraya with tickets to the show and said you can either sit in the front row and watch me or you can get back in the ring. And Saraya said, "Oh, I'd love to beat you again." And that's when Britt told her, No. If you want to fight me, you'll have to find a partner to fight me and Jamie Hayter. Now, on the stream the other night, I dismissed the idea of that person being Sasha Banks. This was the day before the news broke about her being flown in for Wrestle Kingdom. I still don't think it's going to be her, but I cannot outright dismiss that anymore. It is possible. Toni Storm or Thunder Rosa would make sense for that spot. Toni did that promo with two black eyes coming out of Full Gear, saying that she broke her face losing the championship. She'll break her face again to win it back if she has to. So she has made it very clear she is not done with Jamie Hayter. Thunder Rosa? She was forced to finally relinquish her AEW Women's Championship only a couple of weeks ago. She has talked about hoping to be back in the ring from her back injury sometime in February. She was recently able to start doing squats with a 2-pound dumbbell. A few weeks ago, she was able to do a 5K run, but she only ran half of that. She walked the other half. I don't doubt that she's really hurt, but AEW is going to be in her hometown of San Antonio for Dynamite on December 21st. It's always possible that she's kayfabing the recovery timeline to throw people off, and she shows up in San Antonio. Maybe to save Saraya from an attack, and it's revealed that she's going to be the mystery partner because in San Antonio, you can count on her getting a big reaction. Other places, she might not get a big reaction. But in San Antonio, you know that the fans will be behind her. Now, I don't know how likely that is. If they know that she's going to be back in a few weeks, it begs the question, why strip her of the title in the first place? If the mystery partner is not Sasha Banks, though, they have to announce it in advance who it's going to be. I think people are assuming that we won't know until the actual show. They never said that. All Saraya said at the end of the segment on Wednesday was, I'll find a partner. We could find out this week who the partner is going to be. They never said that it was going to be a mystery until January 11th. But if it's anyone but Sasha, they have to let people know in advance who it is. Because now, with this Wrestle Kingdom announcement, AEW has a very insider fan base. You can say that casuals would not be thinking Sasha. It's just the internet, right? Speculating and doing what it always does. But let's be honest, that's the majority of AEW's fan base. So now you're going to have 4 weeks of speculation, potentially building this up to be more than it is. Better to announce who it is in advance if it's not her, than let it stew, and then no matter who it is, people feel let down by something that AEW never actually promoted. AEW never said the name CM Punk either when they announced the first dance in Chicago, but they knew their audience would figure it out. They didn't have to say his name. And they did over 1 million viewers for Rampage, which will never happen again. And they packed 15,000 people into the United Center. If we ring in the new year and we still don't know who Saraya's partner is, I will be a lot less convinced that it's not Sasha Banks teaming with Saraya. There were people thinking maybe the stuff with Jade and Bow Wow was going to lead to Sasha coming in to challenge Jade Cargill for the TBS Championship. Then we saw Naomi with Jade at the basketball game. I don't know how good of a match it would be. I think Sasha would give her the best match of her life, but I think that would be an uphill battle for her. There's a history there with Sasha being the one who was in the ring with Saraya, kicked her in the back, ended her career 5 years ago, right? There's history there. They could work with that. Sasha would immediately be the number one player in that division, by far. It's not even close. She would come in with more name recognition than anybody else in that division. She would elevate that division. If Tony Khan booked her the right way, and that's always been a question mark when it comes to the AEW women's division, Sasha and Saraya, Sasha and Britt Baker, Sasha and Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm, Chris Statlander, Jade. I mean, there were plenty of fresh faces for her to work with. But WWE does a better job of featuring their women and giving them television time than AEW does. How many segments does WWE devote to the women on Raw every Monday night? How many times have they given the women the main event spot on that show? If you are a fan of women's wrestling, and maybe you don't watch Joshi, but you watch WWE and you watch AEW, you cannot objectively say that AEW devotes more screen time to the women than WWE does. They don't. Now, to be fair, WWE has more screen time than AEW does. WWE has 5 hours every week between Monday and Friday, not counting NXT. AEW has 3. But if that's something that Sasha cares about, if that's important to her, and we know it is, because she's talked about it. When they won the women's tag team titles earlier this year, her and Naomi, right? And they're talking about wanting to, help the titles and help the division. This is the sort of thing that she has said that she does care about. So if that's something that is important to her, then she would have to decide, do I go back to WWE under Triple H now, not Vince McMahon, it's under new management. We're in a totally new world now. Imagine a month where Sasha Banks shows up at Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th, wrestles Kairi on January 21st, and then shows up in the Royal Rumble match 1 week later. That would be insane. We live in a wrestling world now where that is possible. Does she go back to WWE and work with the same people that she has already worked with for years? Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey. These are all people that Sasha has already worked with. In some cases, multiple times. Or does she take a chance on herself and work anywhere that she wants with whoever she wants and she can call her own shots? In AEW, or a place like Stardom, she would have an endless supply of new faces to work with. And in a place like AEW, maybe take it as a challenge to where maybe she can come in and help elevate that division to a place that it hasn't been before. Maybe if Tony Khan can get Sasha Banks, he'll feel incentivized to level up that women's division. But what does she want to do? Only she can answer that question. WWE is allowing Shinsuke Nakamura to work a match with the Great Muta on the Noah show on New Year's Day. Could they be letting her show up at the Tokyo Dome? No, I don't think so. Sasha Banks has been off WWE television for 7 months. You think they're going to let New Japan Pro Wrestling get dibs on her first appearance back before they do? Especially if they have control over the situation? Yeah, we'll give it to New Japan first. Yeah, right. It sounds to me like legally she is going to be free and clear in a few weeks to do whatever the hell she wants. But before all of that, she's going to be on a charity stream this Wednesday that Bailey is hosting on Instagram Live to benefit Family Giving Tree, which is a nonprofit that grants wishes for kids in the Bay Area. That is where Sasha will be this week. Here's my prediction. After a quiet 7 months, 2023 is going to be a career-defining year for Sasha Banks, under whatever name she goes by.